although your second placement is probably quite different from the agency to your first placement, what you're bringing from your first placement agency is so much more learning that you can build on. Now, you may not have had if you have not had a particularly good experience on your first placement and you think, oh, look, I've got nothing, I'm starting from scratch. You really haven't. Look at what your learning was. Look what you didn't learn and then what you need to do. What you'll do is that your Common Assessment Tool or the LDA will help you with that, help you identify areas that you really want to build upon, and that will help with your professional behaviour as well and your professional learning. So please feel when you finish this placement, when you put the two placements together, you'll see what a rich experience you really have had.
To do what I think is really required, and that is to have an appetite for learning, to really want to understand what a social worker is and does, but more precisely, I guess, to embrace the notion that social work is an extraordinary profession. It gives you, in a sense, almost the imprimatur to do almost anything that is to do with justice, empowerment, the whole raft of things that you don't often get in a profession. So
over time, and they can take a long time to develop, but I would say empathy, knowledge of the field that you're in, being able to research things, having a clear sense of ethics, and really being able to put yourself in the shoes of the client and understand what information they need and why they need it. And I think over time, you need to be more and more organised so that if you say to a client you're going to do X, then you make sure you do X. Yeah.
So I think that there are first years who get it and there are second years who get it and there are people who never get it. But generally speaking, I think most supervisors would expect a second year to have a bit of a handle on what social work really is, to have taken on the values and to be able to understand, I guess, the kind of code of conduct, but also to understand that the basis of social work is relational. It's about building relationships. I wouldn't expect a first year student to necessarily be able to do that or even know, but I would expect a first year student to be open, reflective, open to insights, and have a kind of love of exploration. That's what I would see. The second year students, I would expect them to have done some of that already, but to be very, very open to deep reflection in terms of their practice.
The growth is, my suggestion is, if you don't have time to do it in the orientation to this placement, is to sit down before you start the prac, or the first week you start at your next placement, is to write down what you think your strengths are, what you think you need of areas for development. Have a look at what did you learn from your last placement? What aren't you still sure of? And then again, by using, when you start using the Common Assessment Tool, I have to keep remembering that, CAT tool, you can put that into the CAT tool, saying this is an area from before I didn't have the experience of. For example, maybe you never had one-to-one with someone because you're in an area where there was a lot of group work or it was community work. So what you're going to do this semester is sort of look, what's it like to, and what do I need so I can be effective seeing people on a one-to-one basis. And all of that will just come together. And so you've got more like community work, for example, and individual work, and combine together to increase your social work skills.
To clients and to staff, being honest, being open, being clear about what your purpose is, but also somehow you need to develop over time a way of being yourself, so that you're not just the professional role, but you're yourself in the profession.